I am joined by Lindsey Cheek. She is candidate for Louisiana Attorney General in the runoff with Liz Murrell. First of all, thank you for joining me. This is just an opportunity for the viewers and the voters to get to know you better, Lindsey. And so I thought we'd start off by, first of all, you've publicly stated that you are the candidate for the people. Also, part of your platform is really being an advocate for women's rights, including your pro-choice stand. And I just wanted to hear a little bit about how, as Attorney General, if you win, you could advance that.
Thank you for having me, Karen. Yes, I've got several priorities, right? And of course, as a woman in Louisiana, and just as a woman in general, women in Louisiana and everywhere are actually very intelligent. We're capable of making our own decisions, especially when it comes to private medical decisions with your doctor. I am pro-choice, but as you probably know, and for those who don't know, the Attorney General does not write legislation. The Attorney General's job is to enforce the laws that are in place. So there's no, I have no intentions and will not be getting rogue and going out there and trying to write legislation. I will work with legislators to at least bring some rape and incest exceptions to our current almost total ban on abortion. Women in Louisiana do not use abortion for birth control. There are situations that young girls and women are put into through no fault of their own, and the government should be protecting them, not trying to punish them for things that have either happened to them, like rape, or if they just want to if they want to live their own life, they should be able to do that without government intrusion.
So you're running as Democrat, and our governor-elect is a conservative Republican. It's looking like the administration is shaping up to be conservative. How do you, if you are elected as Louisiana's next state attorney general, how can you work with that administration given the political differences in philosophy and approach?
Well, I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head, right? Like, democracy is about a system of checks and balances, and where disagreements occur, that can actually be an opportunity to come together and work out differences to advance and to progress policies and initiatives and protections for people, especially the people of Louisiana. So just because we have perhaps a very conservative or far-right government, or that will be our next legislature and governor, does not mean that the world is burning down around us. People must get out and vote, though. Going out and voting, the abysmal turnout for the primary was disappointing for everyone, except maybe Jeff Landry. But people need to be more involved and engaged in the process sooner. It is very hard to run for office, especially a statewide office, if you are not independently wealthy and you can't take a whole year plus off of work. I did not have the ability to do that. I've been considering and thinking about running for Attorney General for 1.5 years, but I own a small business, my own law firm, and I am not independently wealthy. So this is, I don't want to say a social experiment, because it's not. There's so much more on the line. But I want women and anyone who's ever even thought of running for office to know and believe that it's possible, and you don't have to be independently wealthy, and you don't have to take a year off work and be beholden to anyone who's writing you checks to get here.
And you have made it to the runoff.
I know. Who knew? Who'd have thunk it? I'm very excited to be in the runoff. I'm very excited, actually, that it's 2 women in the runoff for Attorney General and Secretary of State for the first time in Louisiana's history, regardless of, what happens on November 18th. There are going to be 2 women and 2 of the top offices in the state and state government, which to me is progress in and of itself.
How do you differentiate yourself from your opponent?
Just to put it bluntly, my opponent is a lawyer for corporations. I'm a lawyer for people. So that's the very short answer.
How do you differ on policy?
I'm not endorsed by the NRA or Right to Life, or I have not received any PAC money or any money from any corporation. I'm not beholden to anyone except the people of Louisiana. So we differ on quite a bit of overall themes and policies. Again, my theme is more, let's protect people, regardless of who has funded a campaign or what political party you're from.
What are your top 3 priorities should you be elected to the office of State Attorney General?
I mean, the plan is, who knows what is waiting for me when I get into the Attorney General's office in January. But I know that concerns of people in Louisiana at the moment are, of course, crime, the environment, insurance is a problem. The insurance industry has just kicked Louisianans in the balls, if you will. And of course, reproductive health and the ability to make decisions for yourself and the right to privacy for individuals versus protections and regulations for corporations.
Can you share with us any specific plans or details to address any of these issues, crime, some of the issues you just detailed?
Specific plans, I mean, there are divisions currently that the Attorney General's office currently has, which are being underutilized or not utilized at all. For example, the Consumer Advocacy and Protection Division. That is essentially non-functioning at the moment, in my opinion. If it was functioning properly, we wouldn't have Cancer Alley. And anybody who lives in Louisiana, or even outside of the state, knows that we have the highest incidence of cancer of any state in the country by a long shot. There are over 800 refineries along the Mississippi River. The people that live in those communities and around there, the propaganda that's been dumped on them their whole life is that regulation of industry equals less jobs, which is absurd. You shouldn't have to choose between getting a job and having cancer, and you shouldn't have to choose between leaving your home or the community you grew up in or where your family is from and getting cancer. So
what I'm hearing is environmental and health protections you'd like to come in and strengthen in the capacity that you can as Attorney General.
Yes, I mean, my whole career, 15 plus years, I've never worked for a corporation. I've always represented individuals, primarily individuals who have gotten cancer because they have worked at big facilities like Union Carbide, ExxonMobil, Monsanto, Marathon, Dow Chemical. These facilities are dumping tons, literal tons of carcinogens and toxins into Louisiana's air, earth, and water. And that's unacceptable. And the Attorney General, that's your job, is to protect people, and we're not protecting them.
Are there any policies or any programs or actions that the outgoing administration, Jeff Landry's tenure as Attorney General, that you'd like to pick up and continue? Any initiatives that you feel you can stand behind?
I think that big tech has had its big brother eye on us, all of us, for a long time. And I do agree with, for the most part, with Governor-Elect Landry's stance on and lawsuit against Meta, because I don't think that children should, I mean, everybody has a phone, right? Nowadays, did you have a phone when you were little? I did not. I got a pager in high school, and I'm pretty sure my mother thought I was dealing drugs because of that, right? But now information is in the hands of kids, right? They have the world is literally at their fingertips, but the world is not, and what's at their fingertips is not protecting them. So I do agree that we should keep big tech and their big eyes on us. And again, this all goes back to privacy, right? You have the right to privacy, whether it's for medical decisions or for what you're searching for on the internet or what you do on your back porch or in your bedroom. That should be no one's business. And if you're not hurting someone else or giving them cancer, that should be no one's business but your own. It's privacy.
So let's shift gears. In the news, we've seen some of the states, their congressional districts, in the courts, some of the decisions overturned, judges ordering states to redraw districts. Louisiana is in the midst of a similar situation. Where do you stand? Should you be elected as state attorney general? Is this something that you're going to get involved with? Where do you stand on this?
By getting involved, I think that who's representing us in Congress and in our state legislature should be reflective of the people of Louisiana. And in Louisiana, 1/3 of our population is African American. So our congressional and legislative representation should reflect that, and currently it does not. We have one congressional district that is primarily African American. We need to have two.
Hopefully everyone will show out.
November 18th.
November 18th.